who can receive the zakah, what things we pay zakah upon, and what things we can deduct. So zakah, the word zakah has a number of different meanings. Firstly, it means increase. So now increase, meaning that it can actually increase. So for example, if a person had £1,000, it becomes 1,100, and so on in the following years. But more importantly, it's an increase in the barakah. So whatever we have left behind after we've taken the zakah out, the remaining wealth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts barakah in that wealth. So the increase in the barakah in the wealth is far greater and far more important than actual increase in the monetary amount. It can also mean purification. So the wealth itself, the remaining wealth, becomes purified. When zakah is taken out, then the remaining wealth is purified. If zakah is not taken out, that amount which should have been taken out then actually causes the wealth to be destroyed. It also means purification in the sense that it purifies the soul. When a person takes zakat out, the inside his heart, his soul is purified from all sorts of illnesses such as greed, jealousy, and so on. And there's many other meanings such as praise, etc., and so on. Okay. Importance. Actually, I shouldn't have done that. What is the third pillar of Islam? Yeah. When I asked this question to adults, actually, many people say Sawm is the third pillar of Islam. If you actually look at the evidence in the Quran itself, in the Hadith which mentions about Bunya al-Islam ala khams, the order in which the pillars of Islam are mentioned, it mentions everyone knows that Shahada is first, Salah is second. Zakah, you will find, is always mentioned third. So Zakah is second only to Salah. And the relationship between the two is so much so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions zakah many times in the Quran. In fact, ulama counted over 80 times in the Quran, and with salah over 30 times. So aqimu salah wa atu zakah. You'll find those who are huffaz and those who are familiar with the verses of the Quran will know that salah and zakah are mentioned together many times in the Quran. So salah and zakah, if one performs salah, he should also give zakah. It's not that a person performs salah only and then he leaves zakah. Then what is the use of his salah if his zakah is missing? The two go hand in hand. And zakah was made farad before the fast of Ramadan was made farad in the second year after Hijrah, which further shows its importance. And we find in the Quran itself, the verse which I recited at the beginning, وَالَّذِينَ يَكْنِزُونَ الذَّهَبَ وَالْفِضَّةَ وَلَا يُنْفِقُونَهَا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. So the one who holds gold and silver, and the hoarding of gold and silver in this verse refers to those who do not pay zakah upon their wealth. Then what happens? هَذَا مَا كَنَزْتُمْ. They will be punished, and then it will be said to them that this is the wealth which you used to hoard. And in the hadith, mention is made of a snake, with a bald-headed snake with two white spots, who will attack the person, and then as the snake is attacking the person, it will say to the person who's being attacked, "Ana maluk, ana kanzuk." I am your wealth, I'm your treasure. So in other words, the very same wealth upon which a person never used to pay zakah will be used to punish him in the hereafter. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. So what is zakah? Or what, very briefly in one sentence, if we want to mention what we pay zakah upon, is zakatable assets. So these are the things which pay zakah on. We don't pay zakah on every single thing which we possess, only certain things which we'll cover shortly. Reaching nisab. Nisab, again, we'll cover that. That's a threshold, which is free from liabilities and debts. And then a full lunar year passes upon that wealth, and then zakah is due upon that wealth. And we pay 2.5% of the total. So zakatable assets nisab, and liabilities and debts. Okay, we'll cover each of these. So, who pays zakah? The usual Muslim, baligh, person who's sane, aqil. Now, here, baligh, this is a very important point. Our children, when they reach about anything from, for girls, it could even be as young as 9, 10, right? And for boys, maybe 12, from 12 onwards, they might reach the age, they might become baligh. We still think they're our children. Yeah, they're young, they're innocent, they're children. But according to Islam, according to Sharia, if they become baligh, they're now adults. So if they possess the wealth, then zakah is due upon them. And we might not, when they get too many gifts around Eid time, right? They might reach the nisab. Yeah? So it's an important point to bear in mind. So if a person owns wealth which reaches the threshold of nisab, yeah, it's at or above nisab, and then 1 lunar year. So when a person first reaches nisab, he waits 1 year, 1 lunar year. I keep saying lunar year because it's important to differentiate between lunar year and the normal solar year. So lunar year, which is the Hijri calendar, which is about 11 days fewer than your 365 days. Yeah, so about 354, 355, so on. Yeah. So when 1 lunar year passes, then zakat becomes due. And then after that, every year a person continues paying as long as he's above nisab. So you have this nisab threshold, and now this amount fluctuates throughout the year. It can go up and down every day. Every day it can go up and down. And then you have the lunar year, yeah, from there to there. So if a person reaches nisab there, he waits 1 year, and this is a nisab. His wealth might be up here. Yeah, he might even stay the same. Yeah, as long as it's above nisab, then he starts paying zakah. So what is this nisab threshold? That's the threshold at which the zakat becomes payable. There's two nisabs: gold nisab and silver nisab. So the gold nisab is 20 mithqal, which is equivalent to 87.48 grams of gold, and the silver nisab is 200 dirhams, which is equivalent to 612.36 grams of silver. Yeah. So just remember, we should try and remember these values. Now, if a person only possesses gold from all the zakat assets, he only possesses gold, then he will use the gold nisab. Now, because silver is a lot cheaper than gold, the silver nisab is a lot lower than gold. So if a person possesses mixed assets or only silver, very unlikely to only possess silver, but if a person possesses mixed assets, some cash, some gold, some business stock, etc., right, then he will use the silver nisab because this is more beneficial to the poor. Because then more people will pay zakah and more people benefit. Okay. Now, when a person first reaches nisab, this date is his nisab date, and he should remember this date. The Hijri date, we must remember that date. Now, it's not necessary it's in the month of Ramadan. I know majority of people fix the first of Ramadan, but really, technically speaking, it could be any time in the year. Yeah? And we should try and follow that date. Yeah? That date is the most important date as far as zakat is concerned, because it makes a big difference, as we see in this. Okay. So because nisab changes every day, yeah, we should try and find out what the nisab is, especially if we're close to that figure. So on this link, we can find the daily nisab rate, any day. Okay. Now I want to show you this graph of the historical silver price. Yeah. The reason why I want to show you is look at this up here. Look at that big jump, but then look at the big fall. So silver can fluctuate a lot, and you can have your peaks and your dips. And if a person just assumes based on last year, it was such and such a figure, right? And then within that 1 year, it drops half. The price of silver drops. It becomes, it halves in price. Then we might still think it's, for example, 400, but the nisab might actually be 200 now. So that's why it's important to keep in mind what the silver price is, or what the nisab is. Yeah. And like I said, it's 612.36 grams of silver. If a person needs to know the previous nisab, or for example, if the nisab date has passed and he wasn't sure what it was previously, he needs to work out whether he needs to pay zakat or not, then you can go back and use this tool on this link, historical nisab tool. Will go back 50 years or so. Okay, a quick example. So this person called Zaid, he had no money on the 1st of Ramadan this year. Then on the 2nd of Ramadan, he received £400, which is above nisab. Because nisab today is around 395 or so pounds. Yeah, so £400 on 2nd of Ramadan. So his zakah nisab anniversary is the 2nd of Ramadan, because that's the date on which he first reached nisab. Now, by the 1st of Muharram, he spent quite a lot of that money. He only had £100 left. Now he's below the nisab. But on the 15th of Sha'ban, the following year, he received £900. So he had £100, he received £900. Now he's above nisab. So 100 plus 900, he's now got £1,000. So when it comes to the 2nd of Ramadan, again, he's above nisab, so he will pay on the full total. Even if he received this 900 on the 1st of Ramadan, the day before his nisab, yeah, then he will still pay on the full amount. Okay? A lot of people get confused about this passing of one lunar year. Passing of one lunar year is on your entire wealth, not on each individual amount you get. Yeah, because sometimes people ask, "Oh, I receive my wages every month. Do I have to calculate every single month?" No, it's nothing like that. Yeah, it's one particular day. That's why the nisab day is extremely important, because if you receive the money the day before, then we pay on the full amount. But if you receive it the day after, then you don't pay on that amount, because it's on the day. It's about the nisab date. Okay, so what are the zakatable assets? So there are three main ones, or four you can say. Gold and silver, that's two. You have your cash, including the money which is owed to us. And you have your business assets. And obviously there's no farmers here, but if you were, then you have livestock and agriculture and so on, crops, and so on, which is beyond the scope of this presentation. There's no zakah on haram wealth. If through some unfortunate means we have zakah, we have haram wealth in our possession, then is firstly, obviously, if it belongs to someone else and we know who that is, we can give that back. We should give that back to him and obviously seek repentance. But if it's not possible to return, then a person needs to give that money away in sadaqah without any intention of reward, yeah? And make a firm intention never to again receive that haram wealth, yeah, whether it's interest, whether it's some other means. Okay, so personal assets are usually exempt, with the exception of gold, silver, and cash. Gold, silver, and cash, whether it's for personal use, whether it's for business use, whether it's for any other use, is always subject to zakah. Gold, silver, and cash. Remember that. Okay. Now, with gold and silver, gold, if the majority, so 24 karat is pure gold. But if the majority is gold, then zakah is due upon that. But if it's less than half, if it's possible to separate the gold from the rest of the jewelry, right, then zakat will be due upon it. But if it's actually intrinsically part of the jewelry and it's less than 12, yeah, so it's 24 is 100%. If it's less than 12 carat, then there's no zakat due upon that. Yeah. So 9 karat gold, yeah, there's no zakat due upon 9 karat gold. Okay, and cash in whatever form, yeah, whether it's in our bank account, whether it's in our wallets, whether it's under the mattress, whether it's in PayPal or somewhere else, right? All of that is subject to zakat. So we need to total all of that up and get the total figure and pay zakat on that. Now, when it comes to calculating gold, obviously, if a person can, has the means and doesn't really want to calculate it, so because it's quite a difficult calculation, you can just pay assuming that you've got 24 karat gold, and that's the end of it. However, the actual value of gold is based on each of the carats. So you have 24, which is pure gold, but it's very common to have 22 and 18 and maybe 21. So you split the gold into their separate carats. So you got 24, 22, 18, and so on. Now, each of those will have different values. So you weigh each of them. You have to find the value of each of those different separately, and then multiply. Yeah, weight by value, weight by value, weight by value. So 22 separately, 18 separate, and so on. Yeah. And then total up the entire amount, and that will be your total value of gold. Okay. So a quick example. Imagine, I know this isn't the case, but imagine, just to make it things simpler, 1 gram of 24 karat gold, pure gold, is 24 pounds. It's not, but imagine. Okay, so that means that each carat is 1 pound. Yeah. So Zainab, when she possesses 100 grams of 22 karat gold, 10 grams of 18 karat, and 20 grams of 9 karat. So how will she calculate the value of the gold? Yeah. So how much? 100 grams of 22 karat. So if 1 gram of 24 karat is 24 pounds, how much will 100 grams of 22 karat be? I know, it's a bit of maths. Okay, I'll just tell you the answer. Right. It's 22 pounds because 24 pounds is pure, right? So 22 pounds, 22 karat will be 22 pounds, and that's 100 grams. Okay. And 10 grams, 18 karat will be 18 pounds. So 10 times 18. Yeah. And remember, 9 karat, there's no zakat due upon that. Okay. So that's 2,200 plus 180. Okay, that's not an easy calculation, right? So that's 2,380. Okay, that's how you would calculate the value of the gold, especially for the women folk. So you can go and teach your wives. Okay, so and to make things simpler, there's a gold value calculator. You can just input the numbers in, and it'll just calculate the value for you, and also give you the zakat due on it on this link here. Gold value calculator. Okay, now business assets. This so if there's any gold or silver in the business, yeah, that's always subject to zakat, like I mentioned before. If there's any cash, then again that's subject to zakat, and also cash receivables, so cash which is owed to the business, and also trade stock, so anything which is to be sold in the business. However, anything which is used as part of the business but it's not for sale, so the actual premises, the machinery, computers, and so on, right? Anything which is used in the day-to-day running of the business but is not sold to customers, that is not subject to zakat. Yeah. Unless there's an intention to resell. So if a person bought any machinery which is generally used for day-to-day business, but with the intention to resell, yeah, then that will be subject to zakat. And with business, it doesn't necessarily mean a person needs to be a businessman or needs to have a shop on Dean Road or something. It could be inside your own home. If a person purchases anything with the intention that I'm going to sell it on, then that now becomes business stock, trade stock. It becomes business asset, and a person mispays zakat upon it. Even if a person possesses that for a year or 2 years, 3 years. Sometimes a person purchases land and with the intention that I'm going to sell it on later on, yeah, and just keeps it there. Yeah. So each year a person will continue paying zakah on it. So how do we value that stock? So if it's finished goods, then whatever the market retail price is, so a person purchases stock at the wholesale price, but when you calculate zakah, it's on the selling and retail price. Okay, important distinction. If we have raw goods, then it's whatever that is worth in that current condition. The only exception would be if it's something which is not in the final product. So if it's something which is used as part of the process of making the item, but then you don't find that thing in the final product, then there's no zakah on that. Yeah. Then it will come in the same category as the machinery and so on. And if, again, the key thing is the intention is to resell, then the entire value is subject to zakah. Yeah. And it's the selling price, the selling and retail price, not the cost price, not the price that we bought it for. So sometimes we find something which is a bargain, it's on sale, right? When we clear all the shelves, right, selfishly, right? And then we've got intention, we're going to stick on eBay or something, right? Then it's not on how much we bought it for. Yeah, maybe there was a misprice, there was a glitch or something, you got it for 1p, right? It's not on the penny. Yeah, it's on £10, it's worth £10, right? So you have to pay zakah on £10. Now if there's no intention or an unclear intention, we're not sure, right? So it has to be a clear intention to resell, yeah, and that intention remains. So if a person had the intention to resell and then change their mind, yeah, now that's no longer a business stock. Yeah, so that it's not subject to zakah. However, if it's for example, a property, and then you receive income from it, yeah, the income is subject to zakah. With shares investment, it's the same principle. Yeah, if it's intention to resell, then you pay zakah on the entire amount, and if it's just an investment, then you look at the zakatable assets of that company, yeah, and our share of it, and then pay zakah upon that. Yeah. Obviously, add any dividends that you receive. With pensions, if a person's already received the pension, obviously zakah is due upon that. However, if a person is paying into a pension scheme, then the key question to ask, yeah, to determine whether zakah is due is it being invested on my behalf? So we've appointed someone to act on our behalf. Is it being invested on my behalf, as the policy holder? If it is, then zakah is due. Otherwise, it isn't. So, for example, the final salary pension scheme, there's no zakah due upon that until a person receives the pension. Whereas with these money purchase, and personal pension, so on, zakah would be due. Okay. Now, debts which are owed to a person, there's 3 different types. Now, we'll ignore the last one, medial, but these 2, strong and weak, will often come into contact with these types of wealth, these types of debts. Okay, so strong debt is, we'll just ignore the definition. Just look at the examples: a personal loan or a credit purchase. Yeah. So we've lent money to someone. Yeah. So now this is, we still have to pay zakah on that. Okay, that's a personal loan, so it's going to be given back to us at some point. However, there's 2 things. One is an obligation to pay, and one is liability. Liability falls every year. Yeah. So zakah is due upon that every year. However, the obligation to pay that every year doesn't fall until later on, until a person receives 40 dirhams worth, which is 1/5 of the nisab quantum. Yeah, which can get a bit complicated, right? So to make things simple, a person can choose to pay every year, if a person has the means, it will be much easier if a person just pays every year. Yeah, just include that in your zakat calculation. So if a person has lent £5,000 to someone, just include that amount in our zakat calculation. Just makes things simpler. However, if it's not possible or it's going to cause us a bit difficulty, then we need to keep tabs on that. So I lent it in this year. This one nisab date passed, another one passed, another one passed. Keep tabs and keep track of that. And when the person receives the loan, then you have to go back and pay the zakat of every year that we missed. With weak debts, for example, inheritance or bequest, a wasiyah, also includes dawah. So a woman is owed her dawah from the husband, or khula, or unpaid wages and salary. This is a common question people ask. Do we pay zakat on unpaid wages and salary? It's a weak debt, so no. Until a person doesn't receive this weak debt, there's no zakat due upon that. Okay? So if inheritance is due, but it's not been paid yet, there's no zakat due until a person receives. And I think we'll stop here on bad debts. So now we've lent money to someone, but unfortunately we didn't follow Sharia. Sharia tells us that we should have witnesses, write it down, have proof. Yeah, that's what Sharia teaches us. But we think, oh, this person I can trust. Yeah, and then it turns out you can't trust that person. And the person denies that you ever lent the money to him. Or a person has become bankrupt, yeah, or it simply doesn't have the means to pay, then that's classed as a bad debt. Now, in that scenario, there's no zakat due upon that. However, if later on a person receives the wealth, then does he pay zakat upon the missed years or not? Yeah. So there's two opinions, and you can follow either opinion. Yeah. So you can either, if you have the means, you pay for all the missed years, but otherwise, there is an opinion that you don't need to pay zakat, except for this year, the year that you received it. So I think we'll stop there, and we'll carry on for the rest for tomorrow, inshallah. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives us a true understanding of the deen and gives us the ability to fulfill this important obligation.